can't wait to hear this bitch yell. 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Epi Cinco, Epi 5, over podcast of the 2023 podcasting football, NFL college football season. The boys are back 4 weeks, a month in a row. The whole month of September, we are bringing you a pod every single week. CB on, along with Big Neckbeard, Big Nicky Six, producer Double Clicks, Conrad's Corner, Peter Buns Bosco. Boys, Nicky, what's the record at right now in college football for the people?
Running record 188, 175, and 8. I found a couple plays. I found a couple plays that I hadn't counted before. Got to be a man of honor. Put them in there.
Yeah.
Couple losses. I think it was like 2 and 3. I went 2 and 3 on like a Thursday night a couple weeks ago. So
over 300 games. The hair looks fantastic, and you're up 13 units if you're doing the unit system on Nicky's picks. I don't know how you can tail him. It would take him hours to get it out to the people in any sort of, not even a graphic fashion. Just getting on the list would take hours. But join his live stream every Saturday morning. You might catch some winners on there. Conrad, what are we looking like down here? 29 and 15, if I'm not mistaken.
And I went bets I've hit every single week. So if you're tailing my best bets, you're riding, you're cashing big. I don't know if you want to get right into it, but Notre Dame, my God.
Yeah, no, I do want to get right into it. And Conrad, you glitched out for like a second there at the beginning, missing a couple of your first words. We're struggling we haven't really had any Wi-Fi technicalities before. I think we'll be okay. This might just be a little hurdle to get through. I think we'll be okay.
Check.
Good to know. It sounds great too.
All I said was 29, 15, like I said, 6 and 6 last week, went even. What are you going to do? It happens. I didn't go negative. Notre Dame, I had probably a collective 10 grand riding on Notre Dame money line. Everybody and their mother said, Conrad, what's the play today? I said, bet big on FSU, cash, and then take everything that you put on that winnings and what you bet on it, put it all on Notre Dame money line. So like at least 50 to 100 people had that, several $100s per person. It was a tough scene.
When you go rock throwing like that, and you get to the last one with that built-up boulder, and it fucking evaporates on the 1 yard line with 1 second left, literally both those things happen. It's soul-crushing. Nicky, what are we going to go after there?
I made a huge mistake. I didn't follow Conrad's advice. I was the simpleton who had Notre Dame +3 and pushed that bet. I had a max bet on FSU, hit Notre Dame, push.
Always buy the hook. So I say in all my videos,
I know.
Buy the hook. I hate pushing. I'd rather
especially around 2 and 4. 2 and 4, around those numbers, like 2, 4, 3. I love buying those hooks there because it's just those are football numbers where it can get a little funky,
Yep. Like if it's 7, I'll buy it down to 6.5 or buy it up to 7.5. You don't want to be caught on that 7. Exactly.
Let's get right into the Notre Dame talk for the people. We do have a little topic that we're going to chop up after we recap this past weekend in football, college, and NFL. But right into it, the game I was looking forward to for the whole entire week, that Notre Dame Ohio State game. First thing I got to say on it, Ryan Day is, if you never met an Ohio State fan, if you don't know how they are, like Ryan Day is an Ohio State fan. He's going after Lou Holtz, who's 1 foot in the grave. And I thought his opening line was epic. His opening line was, I'd love to know where Lou Holtz is right now. Bro, it's midnight on a Saturday night. He's been asleep since the first quarter.
Buddy's bedtime is at 6:30. He had lunch at 2:00 today. What are you talking about?
It's like your crazy grandfather who fucking like chirps or like the other team or something. Their coach, like, I like to know where that fucking asshole is right now in the stands. It's like, dude, like the fact that Lou Holtz, and people are saying he used Lou Holtz as a scapegoat to kind of make a statement to Penn State and Michigan, like, we're going to be tough this year. But my God, that's where we've been talking about the past couple episodes. That's where the Belichick douchiness of like when you win, when you're just like great win for our team, whatever. Sometimes that's not the worst thing. So you call out a guy who's approaching a century. It's like, what the fuck? Where did that come from?
I disagree. I think it's electric, dude. I think it just gets more talk going, more buzz around the sport, more buzz around Ohio State.
We're a tough team. We're tough. Like, anyone who's ever told you that they're tough, they're not fucking tough. That's like
guy.
The guy that says I've knocked out 10 guys has not knocked out 10 guys. His friend who said he has is. Other people like if the media this week is like Ohio State's a tough team, they're a tough team. But now Ryan Day did it for himself. It's like, are they tough or is it like fucking? I don't know. It was just a weird art. I don't know, man. I was just like, where's this coming from?
It's like trying to give yourself a nickname. I mean, you can't give yourself a nickname and make it stick. Somebody else has got to give you a nickname.
Well, the bigger point of that game was Notre Dame losing on the 1 yard line in green jerseys. The Bush push, Matt Leonard, Reggie Bush, 15 years ago, all over again, green jerseys as well. The green jerseys just they don't do it for Notre Dame at home. I don't know what it is.
Well, they won the last 5 in the green jerseys, but before that they were like back and forth.
Well, like a big home game. I'm talking about big games.
I know, dude. It's tough. I was watching at the bar. I'm like literally there's dirt birds everywhere. I'm like so locked into this game. They got 10 guys on the field on the 1 yard line. I don't. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, and the one thing too, it's like I have like I don't know. I've always, like I said last episode, Notre Dame. Never bought into them. This year, I'm like, they're different, man. That was such a good low-scoring game. It was a great low-scoring game to watch. You don't get many of those, but to have 2 4th and 1s and your defense stops them, 2 4th and 1s, your defense stops them in one game and then outwin that game. If I was to tell you last week, Notre Dame's going to stop Ohio State on 2 4th and 1s, no matter where it was in the field, you're going, oh, Notre Dame's going to win that game. Just the fact that they didn't is, I hope they bounce back.
An ugly offensive game for Sam Hartman that kind of hurts his Heisman odds there.
He's got to go off. He's got to go off.
He's got to pop. But it's Notre Dame. You know, they play like 2 or 3 big games and the rest are fucking cakewalks for him. So
they got the USC game will be huge. USC, they played Duke this week, which Duke just turned into a massive game. This game at Duke just turned into a massive game. If Notre Dame mollywops Duke, if they mollywop Duke and go on a little bit of a run, this might be the loss that they need to finally get into the playoff and be like fucking have a chip on their shoulder, you know? Because it's like they're always pretenders come that time. Maybe this loss will set them off. I don't know, but in terms of the grand scheme of that Saturday, Ole Miss Alabama wasn't really impressive. That game wasn't really crazy. You knew Alabama was going to win the entire second half.
Colorado ugly game.
Right, Colorado, Oregon. I mean, Oregon. If you thought Oregon was just like a good Pac-12 team, whatever, Oregon could be anybody in the country, and that includes Georgia. That includs Georgia. Oregon, what they did, running the ball, throwing the ball. I mean, getting after the quarterback, everything. Check it off the list. And then the other big matchups that happened, like I know I'm missing some. Oregon State, Washington State. Cam Ward for Washington State threw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Woo! Washington State might have a little something. Oregon State plays Utah. Friday Night Lights this week at 9:00. Yeah. The Pac-12, man, talk about terrible timing to have a year like this.
Seriously. Who would have fucking thought this would be the year that the Pac-12 pops off and has how many teams do they even have ranked? I don't know.
Nikki, how many? Yeah, Nikki, can you give me some can you list off the Pac-12 teams in the AP top 25, please, good sir? Because I want to say they have 3 teams in the top 10.
We've got
top 10.
We've got USC at 8.
Okay.
We've got. Sorry, I'm just going through a list of everything right now.
Utah's ranked. Washington's ranked. Washington State's ranked.
Nikki, back-to-back episodes, big fella. What's going on?
I'm looking at the full slate here. Yeah, Washington at 7.
Top 25.
Yeah, AP top 25.
All right.
I'll rattle them off the top of my head. USC, Utah, Washington, Oregon State, Oregon. That's at least 5 right there that are ranked.
Here you go. Washington 7, USC 8, Oregon 9, Utah 10. There's what, 4 right there.
Then you got Washington State 16, Oregon State 19.
Yeah, so what do you got? 6. They have 6 teams in the top 25 right now.
That's
got to be the most ever.
Colorado got bounced, right?
Yeah, they got bounced, but that's got to be the most ever in the Pac-12's. I want to say at least the past 20 years, 6 teams ranked at the same time. That's the SEC year. That's the SEC year. Like shit. Like that's you know what I'm saying? That's something
like
to be smirked at.
Big Ten numbers right there.
Yeah, that's something to be smirked at. That's something to be smirked at. I mean, Nikki, what'd you take away from college football this past weekend? I mean.
Well, when me and you went to the bar and they had the Oregon game on Oregon Colorado on at 42-0 playing the commentary over the loudspeakers while Ole Miss Alabama is going on, we had to get them to change the screen. that's got to be worked on. I've got to have a talk with their management there. I mean, that's just piss poor.
And by the way, Nick, before you dive in, hold that thought. There's nothing wrong with being like, you don't want to be that guy. When people say that guy for situations, you want to be that guy who's at the bar going, what the fuck why are we watching Fresno State versus Wyoming when there's fucking Alabama Auburn on? Like, you want to be that guy. You want to
100%. I have no shame in telling, like I said on last week's pod, I had the guy at the bar just fucking switch this, switch that. I need this game here, this game there. Like, and that, who cares, dude? I mean, you're getting good games on. No one wants to watch a fucking blowout, let alone listen to it.
It's like when you get the request in and they change it, you hear one guy out of the 100 people go, "Hey, where'd they go?
What the fuck?
I went to Ball State. I want to watch that game."
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Bimble dweeb.
What are you getting into, Nikki?
Okay. I've got a couple things to call out here. NC State barely beating Virginia, fraud team. They're gonna get blown out by Louisville this week.
And Virginia shot themselves in the foot like 4 times to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Game.
Penalties. Was with John. Talked myself out of my all-time play.
It's CBB on the LRP waves, but yes,
excuse me, CBB on. Conrad, talked myself out of my all-time play and took an over in the Iowa game, and it hit the under.
Why the fuck would you take an over?
Was I not on that? Was I not on that Penn State and the under last week?
No,
you literally said that. No, he said that on the pod. Unless he switched, he said it on the pod.
I didn't switch. I said that.
That's wrong.
Check the tapes.
Well, it wasn't recorded. He's got off scot-free here. But we'll move on.
Me and you talking wasn't recorded. I might have said something different, but I know on the pod I said Penn State in the under. Like, how could that happen? How is that even possible?
Yeah, UCLA Utah was a dogfight, 14-7.
Yeah.
Cam Rising coming back. That is going to be a
bloodbath. Friday night, Oregon State in Corvallis. That's going to be a bloodbath.
Oregon State too. That's going to be
Corvallis. By the way, for the folks at home, is Oregon State's hosting that game. That's going to be that's going to be like a old school 80s NFL game.
Yep. Trying to look through. Oh, Florida only beating Charlotte by 15. Gross. I don't know how they're.
Charlotte's head coach wears a cutoff and gym shorts on the sideline. And he's huge. He's like Nicky size. He's Nicky size, and he wears a cutoff and gym shorts, and he has no headset.
That's the dude who was at like his opening day like press conference. Like, oh, what, you got no questions for me? I'll remember that.
Guy's awesome, man.
They somehow moved up in the rankings after beating Charlotte. Just trying to look through UMass losing in overtime.
I know New Mexico. That game was brutal.
That's for the tough. How about ECU finally getting on the board with a win, 44-0. Mason Garcia still, after week 4, no games over 100 passing yards.
That is incredible.
How many rushing yards did he have?
Did he play the whole game? Did he play the whole game?
I don't believe so, but give me 1 second. I'll pull that up.
I was going to say, if you play the whole game, beat a team 44-0, don't go over 100 passing yards. That's just shovel. The shovel passes count. That'd just be shovel pass like galore. I bet.
He had 178 rushing yards.
Jesus Christ!
Man, that guy needs to start playing tight end. But I mean, and the thing that sucks, and we'll get into it. We're going to touch on NFL right now. But I was looking at the college football slate this weekend, and I was like, yeah. I mean, I thought last week would really set off a wildfire, and I don't know if it did. I was looking at it, and it's like the games really aren't. I mean, last week and the best weekend in 8 years, it's gonna be tough to have the same thing again. But I mean, shit. Give me something. I mean, you can't give me that and then give me nothing the next week. But we'll get into it.
We've got a few good games. I mean, Kansas at Texas, that's a ranked matchup.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Okay. I mean, you guys have anything else for college football for last weekend other than, I mean, Notre Dame, Ohio State was an awesome game to end the night. I'm trying to think of anything else, but I think it's time to hop in some NFL.
UNC, I said it in my video, UNC has been my dog. I've rode them. They've been my horse. I ride them every week, and they just keep on delivering. You have to keep riding until they break at this point.
I'm surprised that Nicky never hopped on, has been on the entire time. He's a huge Drake May guy.
Oh, I've been betting UNC. I actually won.
Silent but deadly.
I actually had 3 wins on that game. I had UNC -7, over 49.5, and UNC team total over 28.5. 3-0 in that game.
Oh yes, I mean that is Nikki. Probably that is one thing I forget is that Nikki with all of these all these bets that he's doing, like the couple of teams that he does like when they're riding high, that's like he's gonna get like 12 wins from like 3 teams because he has like their first half total, their team total. So like if they all have good weeks,
I swept. I think 3 games with 3 bets. I had Duke spread game over, Duke team over, Miami spread over, and team over. So all 3 ACC teams, all 3 teams that I'm familiar with that are scoring points, playing at a high clip. So I'll try to get those out again live on Saturday. Didn't have a lot of people join, but when they did, it gave out winners. Had a buddy who told me he needed a win, gave him Duke and the over. He doubled his
live with a story. We'll get something going because we'll touch on that when we get to the preview for this weekend, Nikki, because I got some ideas on that. But NFL boys, so you'll be on debut. Depending on when you get the Packer line, if you got it right at game time, this line went fucking crazy. If you got it an hour before game time, I went 6-0, you bitches, with a 300-3-1 money line juicer. But when I had Packers at -1.5, it flip-flopped to them being +2 in 2 hours. I don't know what the fuck happened, what kind of money was going on, but 5-1, the debut, back-to-back years, my first juice pick of the year, smacks. Can I keep it going? So I mean, I saw a lot of things. And that's the thing is too, when you like week 1 NFL, you're like, oh, I've had a couple weeks of college football, I'm gonna dive right into it. Sometimes you bite off a little more than you can chew. You dive in that first NFL Sunday and it fucking ruins a taste in your mouth. Like, why did I fucking gamble? Why do I like sports? Why do I like football? This fucking sucks. You ease into it. Now I got myself in a great position. Now I can kind of play around with whatever games I want to drop. The game that I'm gonna have to drop a game here soon. Nah, what am I saying? I'm getting way too ahead of myself. But now I'm in a good spot. I got some momentum behind me. And let me tell you something. You want to talk about seeing the board clear? You know you're seeing the board clear when you drop 4 favorites out of 5 picks and you're not even worried about it. When you're not seeing the board clear and you have 4 pluses or 4 minus signs, you're going, this can't be right. Just flip a couple the opposite way. I can't. It's got to be like even. You know what I'm saying?
100%. You can't have all favorites or all dogs. Nothing ever looks right when you bet that. But when you're seeing it and you're laying them, there's no better fucking feeling. There's no
4
better
favorites,
feeling.
4 favorites, 1 dog, and that 1 dog to cover and to win. Let me tell you something. The first game that I want to talk about real quick, Cleveland, Tennessee. This Browns team, I kind of want to fuck around and put a future on them to make the Super Bowl. Not win it, but to make it. I think they could fucking – that run game, when you have a run game and defense, that wins you games in December and January. Run game and defense wins you games. If Deshaun Watson – like I said in my video, if he wants to be a massage fondly, not a fondler, he's getting the fondly. Like, then that's fine. Then be that. But are you going to be an NFL quarterback? And like, he fucking had that one crazy backwards pass, but he still played well enough for their team to win and blow out Tennessee. So I think if Deshaun Watson could be decent, that Browns team could be scary come playoff time.
It's going to be tough without Nick Chubb, but as long as
it didn't look like they missed a beat though.
Kareem
Jerome
Hunt's
Ford
back on it now too, so we'll see how they end up for the rest of the season.
The AFC North too is going to be a gauntlet. I mean, the Bengals. We can jump around, but we can stay in this division. The Bengals. I mean, you want to talk about looking everything but impressive Monday night? Yeah. I mean, they're in trouble. They're in big time trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's the curse of getting a big contract. I think the only person that's really beat that curse is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, in back in the day when nobody was giving out $100 million contracts, I think it was like the first 6 people that ever got $100 million contract in the NFL never even finished the contract with that team. It was like Mike Vick went to prison, Albert Hainsworth with the Redskins when they were the Redskins, now Commanders. And I'm sure a couple other
Albert Hainsworth. Remember when he stomped on some guy's face?
Oh, dude, he showed up super fat, couldn't pass his physical, and cashed a $24 million signing bonus just because he was on the roster.
I mean, how relatable is that stuff though? I mean, imagine if you go to work tomorrow and they're like, hey, we're gonna you've been killing it, you've been doing all this and that, we're gonna give you X amount, and it's a blow you away number. It'd be tough to come to work the next day and be like, all right, guys.
Listen, I don't want to switch sports here, but look at Ben Simmons, dude. Man got fucking paid and then hasn't played a game since. I wish I could do that. Fuck Ben Simmons, but I wish I could fucking do that. It sounds like a fucking life.
And to finish that up, you get that, and then the next day you go to work and you're like, I don't feel right up here. I don't feel right up in the head today.
Yeah. Oh, you get to work.
You guys get it. You guys get it.
Feeling it. Yeah, I got to take a break. I got to take a week off. I might have the Ronies.
Like, yeah, you guys
cash and checks.
My boss is a listener of the program, but luckily we've had this conversation. I told him if I ever win the lottery, I'm quitting next day. I'll cut him a check to replace.
What the fuck are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking about?
Shout out your boss, but fuck your boss for thinking you wouldn't quit.
Shout out Lester.
The Crane Train. Oh man.
Oh,
the Crane Train. Loyal LRP guy, loyal listener.
Well, it just real quick on Joe Burrow. It's like it looks like well, the first half, I don't think he threw a ball farther than 10 yards. That was accurate, at least.
So they're saying his calf
is like he can't throw with his calf. I think it's like fucking up his planning and throwing motion. We'll see. I mean, they needed that win big time.
You needed to have it. You go 0-3, it's a death sentence.
Yeah, you needed to have that. So we'll see how his calf looks for the rest of the season, but as long as defenses can keep pressure on him, I mean, it's going to be a sketchy sight for the Bengals.
And I mean, not to stay on this game really quickly, but the thing is with the Bengals, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, past 2 seasons, a franchise who hasn't really seen that since the 80s. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't think they literally have since that one time they played the 49ers way back with Montana. And I think they're like a franchise that's been there is probably sitting Burrow for those first couple of games, getting the rest he needs. They play him. We need to start the season hot. You're probably looking going 1-2. We probably should have fucking sat this guy the first couple of games, make sure he came back 100% healthy. Because now you're like, what the fuck? I mean, he probably should be sitting out this weekend. If we saw what we did last week and do it again, he probably should be sitting out this weekend. But it's like, I don't know. They got themselves in a weird spot. And I mean, let me tell you.
You got to get wins if you're the Bengals. I mean, you got to get
now you got to throw him in there. Now he has to fucking shoot him the fuck up like fucking Varsity Blues. I mean, he's got to figure the fuck out now.
Shoot him up like Aaron Rodgers was that 2 years ago? My knee. It was my knee.
Yeah, I mean, coming from being a Pittsburgh guy, Conrad, I mean, is this just an indictment of the young generation? You got Big Ben played through 1,000 injuries in his career and never really. I mean, yeah, towards the end, he was a different person, but when he was at his prime, playing through,
fucked him up for life. But I mean, he found a way. No, I know what you're saying.
He's a porn addict survivor. Everybody knows that. He's gone through trials.
Aren't we all?
Trials and tribulations.
Well, I mean, yeah. Speaking of addicts, Nikki, you got to be addicted to Arizona right now. I mean, I knew looking at the Bears in Arizona, I'm like, okay, this 4 p.m. slate sucks, but I know Chicago or Arizona, one of them is going to cover. I didn't think fucking one was going to fucking win.
Yeah, win outright against the Cowboys is nuts. I was playing golf during a fantasy draft and ended up with Josh Dobbs as my only surviving quarterback.
Wow.
And
Not bad.
He has produced. I did not think it was going to go well. I've got Kyler sitting in my IR spot, but Dobbs looks nice. I mean, alopecia and everything.
Playing for a contract. Alopecia Awareness Month. Alopecia Awareness Month. He's trying to be a spokesman. He's trying to get a contract. I mean, now he's proving it. And Nikki, can you look up something? I'm going to go on a quick little rant. Nikki, can you look up fantasy football points for Mike White and Tua Tagovailoa last weekend? See what both their fantasy points were? Because Sean Payton, Connor, you remember what the fuck this guy was saying this summer about Nathaniel Hackett and like the worst coaching job he's ever seen? Buddy, he started 2-1. You're now 0-3. Russell Wilson might be like, if he keeps this up this year and plays again next year, I have already forgotten about the Legion of Boom. I already forgot about Russell Wilson, Pete 2012. I already forgot about all that shit. To get a 70 fucking burger hanged on you and then be a favorite the next week in Chicago. I talk about something that's never happened in history. That's a totally other thing. But to get a 70 burger hanged on you is fucking, I mean,
it's absurd. And that just goes to show how bad the Bears are. They are so bad.
So bad.
I mean, the 70 burger is fucking absolutely unreal. Shout out to everyone who had fucking Dolphins players on their fantasy team too. I mean, I hope you won your matchups. If you didn't, Kendall Cleary, then probably just never play fantasy football ever again.
You know what sucks? I had Jalen Waddle, and of course he was out. That guy would have fucking had an easy 25 points, no fucking problem.
Easy.
Nick, you able to find those numbers by chance?
Yeah, so I'm looking up. These look like standard and not like PPR numbers, but
okay, standard.
Tua with 28.4 and Mike White 6.6 is what this says.
So I thought Mike White would have had like a couple of touchdowns, 20 points. The way I told you to bring that up is because I thought Mike White would have had like 20 points too. So I would have been like, imagine having two quarterbacks in your team have 20 something fantasy points, but 6 points, never mind.
Yeah, he didn't do shit.
So Mike White didn't throw for a touchdown?
He did. He was 2 for 2, 67.
Okay, all right.
And it's
wait, was Tua in for the entire fucking game then?
Yeah, pretty much. But the person that you want to look at is the Dolphins running back who had 218 yards and a couple scores.
That is 1976, like Roger Staubach, fucking like type like shit, dude. 218 yards. That's like Herschel Walker, Emmitt Smith back in the day. You don't see that too often. Besides what Derrick Henry's only got to really do in recent memory. 200-yard rushing game.
Yeah, from what I can remember, he had Derrick Henry, and he just doesn't look too hot this year either, honestly.
No, yeah. I mean it's sad, man. I mean the thing is like running backs in general, like I mean it's gonna be weird to see what happens with the NFL in 10 years from now. Running backs could literally be like it could be teams having tryouts, like weekly tryouts a decade from now. We need a running back. Someone show us something like Invincible. It could be Invincible tryouts. I've seen that movie with Mark Wahlberg. They could be having those tryouts 10 years from now for running backs. We'll give you 10 grand. Go play a game for your favorite team.
So
it's crazy.
Looking at his stat line right now, his name is Devon Devin.
This is the Dolphins running back?
Yes.
A-Chain, yeah.
A-Chain, 19.
Sick name.
It's badass.
19 carries, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 34 yards, and another 2 touchdowns. He's
averaging 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, in one of my leagues that has some wacky scoring, he put up like 80 points.
80 points with wacky scoring. I don't care how wacky the scoring is. That is insane.
Yeah, no, I the only time I've ever seen somebody come close to that was when Will Fuller for the Texans, when Deshaun was still there, had like 15 catches for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns or something. He had like 70 points.
So run through real quick. Lions, good bounce back. Buffalo, big bounce back.
Yep.
Houston, they can go 0-16. They play Jacksonville. They'll win that game. Jacksonville could have an NFL All Legends team. Houston will find a way to win that game. It's insane. I don't know how they keep
always every time. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
And so, so Houston, they just real quick, Nikki, Houston, Indy, the 2 underdogs in the AFC South win, not big, but Houston won big. Indy in overtime. Kicker went 5 for 5 from like 50 plus yards. Insane. Carolina sucks. Seattle bounce back win. Kansas City, Chicago. I love what Big Cat said. Like they're just an FCS team in September. It's like that random team that Alabama plays in November. You know how Alabama always is an FCS team scheduled in November? Like that, like he could have been more spot on. That's the Bears. But the 2 games I want to talk about real quick before we get into our topic of discussion. The New York Jets are. Can you just fathom being a Jets fan and what your emotions have been the past month? Like I can't to think about like in like just like a hyperbole and fucking like random scenarios. It's basically a girl going, let's get married. Then the next week she's like, I'm pregnant. Then 2 weeks later, she's like, it's not yours, it's somebody else's. Like, if you're a Jets fan right now, like where the fuck are you at? Like, you're high, your hopes were so high. Now it's like, I don't even know if I was a Jets fan, I wouldn't be able to watch fucking games. I'll say that.
If you're a Jets fan, just jump off the Brooklyn Bridge already. Like, the season's over. There's no reason to even watch football anymore.
Isn't that crazy how it's over? It's not even October. It's over.
They got Broadway Joe out here saying that they need to trade Zach Wilson. It's week 3.
He said more than that.
Yeah, I mean he's awful.
He's a waste of a draft pick. Should never play for the New York Jets ever again. Like fucking bum.
Well, that's what you always think about with these draft analysts, these scouts for NFL teams. Like I am like, if a guy gets to the combine or has his pro day, like a pro day to me I've never been around a football team my entire life, watched it, you name it, indulged in it, fancy, you name it. But from being a guy on the outside, a pro day is not going to fucking make or break some guy's draft stock in my eyes. If you're fantastic and your pro day is whatever. If you're on the line, your pro day is fantastic, I'm not taking you up 10 notches. Because remember, his pro day was like unreal. People were talking about it for days.
They were jerking him off during his fucking pro day. His rollout, pass back across the field, throwing dimes. It's like, yeah, there's nobody playing defense. Of course, he's dropping dimes.
Yeah, but then you also to the contrary, you got guys like Josh Allen who that really boosted his stock. He was out there throwing 80 yards, dropping balls into a bucket on go routes, and everybody was started salivating over him out of Wyoming, or was it Idaho? Which one was it?
Wyoming.
Out of Wyoming. I mean, yes, he was projected high because of his, size and arm strength, but that pro day, I think, really put a final stamp on, like, he's definitely going number one.
Just imagine being Zach Wilson, dude. You're not doing this in Baltimore. You're not doing this in Arizona. You're doing it in New York with New York media. And you can't turn a TV on. You can't open up a newspaper. You can't open up your phone without just seeing your fucking name being bukkake by everybody and everywhere, left and right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I give the guy credit for fucking not putting a rope around his neck, because the solution's simple. Just play decent, not play well, not play fantastic. Just play average. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jets are a playoff team.
Yeah, there's been quarterbacks that have had to do that. I mean, we're talking Dilfer with the Ravens. We're talking Alex Smith with the Chiefs. I mean, even Flacco with the Dolphins that one year.
Ravens or wait, what? Dolphins?
Didn't he play for the Dolphins?
I can't picture him in a Dolphins uniform at all. Joe Flacco played for the Dolphins?
No, he got decapitated in the Miami game. That's what I'm thinking of. My fault.
Yeah. No, I know you're doing. His helmet came off. Yes.
Yeah, and he put his finger up like substitute.
No, Flacco. No, they're having guys with great defenses that can just. I mean, the key is, though, you have to be able to throw a long ball. Flacco could throw the ball a country mile. Like I mean, you got to have something. You got to be able to run, do something. The Jets right now, though, an absolute horror show. It's really. As a Patriots fan, it's comical to watch, but at the same point in time, I'm a human being. I can only just imagine what it's like being one of them. And speaking of like those like franchises where you wonder what it's like to be a fan of, the Chargers. This guy Staley, man, everyone's been talking about it. I know it's getting fucking butchered everyone's brain. But is this guy like, does he just like play Madden all the time and go like, this can translate? Like, dude, like if you're playing Madden, if you're playing against someone in Madden, it's been a while since I've played Madden, but if you're playing online against someone in Madden, it's 4th and 1 on their own 25, 30, whatever the fuck it was deep in their zone. No time, you have no timeouts, a minute and a half left, down 4, and they're going for it. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this guy doing in a video game, The fact that he did it in real life. Like, what the fuck?
The balls on that guy. Jesus Christ.
And I even do a QB sneak. When your quarterback is fucking Bigfoot. Crazy when you see the Eagles fucking every fucking time. That game was nuts, man. I mean, the Chargers. I'm a fan of that team. You got to take like a Percocet, a Xanax, and like just chill out watching those games, man.
How about the Vikings? I saw a stat the other day that said Kirk Cousins is on pace to throw for the most yards in an NFL season, and Justin Jefferson's on pace for the most receiving yards in an NFL season, and they may be 0-17 while they do it.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, man? I mean, it's when you think about the NFL, man, like, and bettors know, gamblers know, like the Chargers are such an appealing team to a sports bettor because they're going to give you two things. They're going to give you points. They're going to give you a close game. So they're always going to appeal to sports bettors. So if you've been on the Chargers the past couple of years, you're telling yourself, like I was telling myself when Minnesota had the ball 20 seconds left, it's on like the 3-yard line. I'm like, there's no way the Chargers don't blow this. They just blew it. It's over. And that pick I didn't see coming at all. And it's like, I think that was the first game I saw the Chargers win where like it came down to the fucking wire. I mean, just crazy, dude.
I was big on that over too, and I got cucked. I got cucked
you
so
need that
hard.
Minnesota touchdown. Yeah.
Needed it in the worst way. And then they had another chance, and I needed that, and they still didn't get it. Oh my pain and misery.
But I mean, I think the good thing though, I think the NFL is in full swing. I think we're at that point in time of the year where college football Saturdays, like me personally, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, if you feel the same way. A college football Saturday, it could be shit versus shit this time right now. I know I was talking about earlier, the slate not looking too good. It could be shit versus shit, but it's a college football Saturday. It's fall. Like, it's always going to have that vibe to it. The NFL Sunday, when it's not looking too good and you're hungover as shit and it's not really a great slate, work the next day, it can kind of be miserable. But right now, I think the NFL is in full swing. I think we got some great matchups next week. We're going to have some coming. Like, I think we're looking forward to some great weeks in NFL and college football. You give us a good week here or there, it's a bonus. That's where I'm kind of at with like the weekends of football.
Yeah, big time.
I would agree.
I'm working a second full-time job on Saturdays. I didn't watch a snap of NFL football. I'll admit it. I placed 115 bets on Saturday, and on Sunday I'm asleep. Like I was at home. I was keyed up to watch, but just didn't get around to it.
When you're betting that much on Saturday, it takes fucking everything out of you. Every little thing, dude. You're sweating out every single. I mean, especially the way you're doing it. 115 picks. You're sweating out literally every second of every game just to go positive. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
it's from midnight to 2 a.m. if you do the Hawaii game too. It's from midnight to 2 a.m.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So and I pushed that Hawaii game, by the way. I had -3. So
stay up. And look, I know that channel too. The Reddit stream for the Hawaii games, like a Spectrum Hawaii. Like, you're just watching like these random commercials. Like, what company is this? It's like all Hawaii shit. It's like a foreign world over there.
Yeah, it's like somebody filming on a Nokia brick phone. I mean, it's crazy.
It was they played New Mexico State too, right? Last weekend. That was the Hawaii game.
So.
Because New Mexico
State
or
Fresno
Hawaii,
or something.
Yeah.
New Mexico State and Hawaii. I've had a couple of games like in college where like staying up watching it, and that game meant so much to me you wouldn't even want to fucking know. Those Hawaii New Mexico State games end of September. But
yeah, they beat New Mexico State 2017, and Conrad, going back to the full-time job, it's just I'm positive every single week so far. I'm up money. I don't need to risk on the NFL.
Crazy. It's crazy how around 500 you've been every single week. It's crazy.
I don't need to risk on the NFL where I'm less confident. Even though week 1 I had a great week in NFL, went like 12-5. I don't need to risk my winnings. I'm fine to just sit back and have a relaxing day.
That is me to a T. I cash out, I cash in big on Saturdays, and then in the past when I would bet NFL, I lose it all on the NFL. Yeah, I go up big on Saturday, I lose it all on Sunday, pay the bookie Monday. It was fucking miserable.
There's nothing worse than going into that Monday night game needing a win so you don't have to pay out.
Yeah, and like the spread's like 11. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, fuck. Like, I can never, like, those are always the worst too. That's usually what it always is, man. And like, so I got to thinking this week for like a topic of discussion, and I hit you guys with it a couple of days ago. I was singing a song to myself. I forget what it was. It was like a Christmas like tune or something. What's Christmas Carol?
What the fuck?
Like, I think it was a Christmas Carol.
Carols in September is psychotic.
I was whispering it. And by the way, it's never too early to get on JC's day. All right. Shout out.
Yes, it is.
Christmas, November 1st. That's a different discussion for a different time. But point being, I was whistling this Christmas Carol to myself, and it came to my mind. I can't 2-finger whistle. And I don't know about you guys. My dad can 2-finger whistle, and you can hear him in Wisconsin. It's fucking like, it's insane. And it got me thinking about like, dude, I'm 26 years old. My dad was almost a father. He was a father at 27. I was born when he was 27. So I'm kind of like knocking on the door in terms of looking at where my dad was at. I started thinking about it in terms of dad skills and things. I don't know if I've acquired anything fucking cool that a dad can do.
Yeah, you got nothing useful.
All right, fucking. I was hoping for.
You've got the hairline of a dad. That's about it.
Like, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have to YouTube and LeBron James. Don't forget that. Fuck. I'm gonna have to look like a YouTube. The 2-finger whistle. It got me thinking about a couple other things too, like grilling. Like in terms of like grilling, being a grill master is 20 people at a barbecue, and like
Got it on the list.
There's 20 people at a barbecue, and to be able to man that fucking grill and be able to like that is something like, how do you learn that? Like everyone's dad can do it, but how do you learn? Do you just go one day like, Dad, like show me how to work the grill? But it's like, I guess you can do that, but it's not like the setting that you need to be in. Like anyone can do it with no one else in the backyard. It's like, there's a lot of dad things that I was thinking about. How the fuck do you learn how to do them?
And with that, it's not like it's just like 4 burgers on the grill. You got like 20 burgers, like 15 hot dogs, a steak, a chicken breast. Like
some bitch wants a chicken. Some bitch wants a chicken kebab or something, or like fucking vegan tofu. You got to worry about too. It's fucking like it's anarch. It's I don't understand how they do it.
You also got to think about the other dads that are standing around the grill with you, trying to see if you actually know what the fuck you're doing.
And you're having conversation while also knowing what the fuck you're doing. Like that's not easy. Like you get lost in a convo. Next thing you know, the whole meal's fucked for everybody.
Yeah.
So here's what I got. Here's what I got for you guys to feed off of. Conversation style. Notes app was just firing away. Launching people in a pool. That's a dad thing you can learn pretty easily. I feel like, but launching people in a pool or something, like the kids go flying off the shoulders, that's an easy one to learn, but also sick dad skill.
That one, you need to have dad strength for it. You have to have kids to be able to do that, because then you're just picking up kids, picking up a bunch of shit, doing everything. And you have to have dad strength for that one.
I feel like moms get like, what's it called when like something happens and you're not there, but
intuition.
You know something happens? Yeah, moms have that intuition.
Intuition, sixth sense. Yeah.
Right, but dads, that's strength, man. Once that Yoplait yogurt swings around and hops on an egg and creates a kid, man, something happens to that guy. I don't know what it is, but dad strength is like that has to be studied, right? It's a thing, right? Like fight or flight, 100%. Like deja vu. Like no one can explain deja vu. I feel like no one can explain dad strength. That's another good one I had on here. Only on Cookout, like I said, never crying.
Wow. Yeah.
You cry a lot, Johnny?
I don't hysterically cry, but I definitely get some tears down my eyes. I'd say once a month. Once every couple of months.
Jimmy V, that's healthy, man. That's healthy.
It's healthy. And I don't know about you guys. I do it too. Like I'll think about like the end of Friday Night Lights, the movie, when like they get stopped on the 1 yard line. Like I think about stuff like that. I kind of start crying a little bit. Like
you're picturing Tim McGraw putting the ring on his son's finger, and John's just a puddle. Yeah. John's just a puddle of emotions.
And, like, I'm not
just like when he was going to see the big house. I'm going to cry when I see the big house.
Right, exactly. And if I was coherent, I wouldn't have hysterically cried, but it would have been like a grandfather watching their grandson do something spectacular. Just like just tears come out the corner. But that's never crying, though. I don't think I didn't see my dad cry, but I was at somewhere where he did. The greatest game ever played. Have you guys ever seen that movie with Shia LaBeouf, the golf movie?
Yep.
No, I actually have never seen
Francis We Met.
Great, yeah, Francis We Met. It's on the only. I don't know if it's the only, but it was the first amateur to ever win the U.S. Open, like 1912. Kid wins the U.S. Open as an amateur. I remember, like, I guess my mom said my dad like had to leave the room because he was crying a little bit, and I've never seen him cry. And I think I was like 7 for that, but I've never seen my dad cry. I don't know about you guys, but dad strength, not crying, not really showing emotion. That's like, I mean, I feel like that's an epitome of a dad, right?
Ooh. Also very
100%.
very close, John. 1913, not 1912.
1913, 1912. But like never showing emotion.
Mr. Technical.
But I don't know about you guys. I never knew about anything. Like the family could be in shambles. Dad comes home from work, grabs a cold one, puts his feet up on the chair. Like you have no idea. Like you have no idea what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like that and never crying. You're like two things I just like such a dad move.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen my dad, or I've never even seen it, I just heard it over the phone, is when he told me that his dad passed away. I'm like, okay, well, that's like the only time you'll like ever see like a close family member passes away. That's like the only time. I've never seen growing up, no matter 08 hits, jobless, any of that. Oh, like never in shambles, just a rock, dude.
Right. It's like, go ahead, Nick.
I've there's a few times that I can remember, but one that I think all dads will cry at if they have a daughter is at their first daughter's, probably all their daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
When my older sister got married, dad seeing her in the wedding dress, that's like, you're done as a dad. Well, not done as a dad, but like you're giving them to somebody else. They're not your kid anymore. They're somebody's wife. So that's a big cry scene for a dad.
That's a lock for dads to cry at their daughter's wedding every time.
I forgot what else I was gonna say there. It'll come to me, but go ahead, Conrad.
I just had one written down the list, and this is very specific to my dad, Frank the Tank. If you knew my dad growing up or ever were in our house when a scammer called the house phone, the ability this guy had to fuck with these scammers and keep them on the phone for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, just like shooting this. And he's just like, and he's a salesman. He could talk to fucking a brick wall. It's where I get it from. I mean, it's all I've ever known. And this guy would fuck with these scammers nonstop. He would like salivate at the mouth. He's like, "Oh, it's a scammer. Give me the phone right now." And he's like, Sahejapri, what's going on, man? No, you want my social? I'll give it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Dad. Nonstop. He would like, I'm telling you, it was like his favorite pastime.
My dad's favorite line whenever we got telemarketers when I was a kid was like, yeah, give me your phone number. I'll call you when you're eating dinner. Because they always call when you're eating dinner.
Yeah, always, dude. And you just got to sit there in silence while your dad's just shitting on this telemarketer. I'm just like eating Kraft mac and cheese as like a fucking 8-year-old.
That's one thing I forget. That's one thing I forget about too. Like that goes on like in the car. Like one I've acquired as a dad skill is sports radio. I can't stop listening. I've been for the past since I was in college, sports radio constantly. Like when I'm in the car, it's 80% sports radio podcast, 20% music. And I like forget what it's like being in a car as a kid. I guess we had headphones and iPods and shit, but I don't remember ever doing it. You should have suffered through whatever your dad had. You're going on a long road trip to a game. Oh. You want to listen to music? That's all I want to listen to as a kid was music. No, I have on some political radio or I have on Boston Sports Radio the entire way. The entire way. You're like, how do you listen to this? Now I know. Yeah. It's not the same way.
I've got a couple written down. John, you got any more on your list?
Yeah, the last two I got are cars and cards, total dad thing. But I feel like it's a thing that you're taught from your dad. If your dad's not a car guy, you're not going to be a car guy. I feel like sport guys and car guys don't really mesh. I feel like you're either a car guy or a sports guy. To be both. Like I couldn't tell you one thing about a fucking Hemi or a horsepower. I got fucking my car knowledge is shot. But
not a single thing.
Right? You can't have no cars and no sports and no cards. You got to have one of the three. You got to have one of three. In cards, I feel like everyone knows blackjack and shit, but like, unless your dad knew poker and loved poker, you're going to have to learn it on your own too, But like, my dad loved cribbage. I never got into cribbage. I could never understand that fucking game.
What the fuck is that?
Really, cribbage, look it up. It's like, I don't know. It's I guess a lot of people like it, at least the ones that
sounds like an old man game right there.
Yeah, it's a dad game. But yeah, cars and cards, that's who I had, but it's also like, if your dad didn't know them, you're not going to really know them unless you venture out on your own.
Yeah, 100%.
I've got a pretty extensive list. We've touched on them, a few of them already. Dad strength on par with retard strength. Number 2, dad breath. Why is it?
By the way, Nick, every single episode has just dropped a crazy line. But go on. I mean, I love it. But go on.
Number
dad
2,
breath.
Dad breath. Why is it so hot? Do you guys not?
That's just morning breath, my friend. Whoa. That is literally just morning breath. I guarantee you.
Tom Brady? Are you getting Tom Brady in the morning?
You've never been in bed on a Saturday morning. Your dad goes, "Get up! It's time to do some yard work." And you're
I don't think my dad.
No, my dad has never whispered in my ear as a child while I'm sleeping.
Conrad's getting his payback.
You need to go to therapy.
Yeah, Conrad's getting his payback.
Already been
left out to dry. He's getting his payback being left on the dry the vibrator thing last weekend right now. But no, I don't even think my dad knew my fucking bedroom was. My mom would wake me up if anybody would wake me up.
Yeah, I had a door where you would open it and like it would get stuck in the door frame, so you just hear the doorknob turn and pop, pretty much the door pop open. I'm like, all right, I guess it's time to fucking get up now.
Nikki, before you your next one, Nikki, just came to my head, total dad skill, not knowing where your kid goes to elementary school or whatever school he's going at, just having no idea, knowing none of his teachers.
None of the teachers. Not an emergency contact. That's 100% a mom duty.
Oh, never.
Yeah, come down to the school. Like he's throwing up everywhere. It's a mess. All right, what school is he at? What's
the address?
The only thing I ever put my dad as down for like an emergency contact for is like extreme stuff. Like, paintball is not extreme, but if you go like bungee jumping or you do some shit like that, you put that name down for that. But anything else, it's mom.
The draft, anything like that. Like I'll put my dad on there. Yeah. Go on, Nikki. Keep running through it.
Next, I've got dad jokes. At what age do
Oh,
you learn
yeah.
them, and what age do you start sharing them?
Yeah.
When you're a
Yeah.
dad.
I feel like they just come from experience too, you know, and like
Well,
dad jokes can be funny. They can be funny, but it's like you
Well,
gotta have the delivery. You gotta be a dad.
you,
Yeah.
you gotta have like a little toddler who knows fucking not shit about anything, and you just gotta have the dumbest jokes that get them to laugh. And I think that's where the dad jokes come, and then they just
Honestly,
never
that's
leave.
nail on
And then
the
they
head.
never leave.
Yeah.
Then they never leave, and they're just
Great
dad
call.
jokes for the rest of your life.
Great call.
That's nailed on. And Conrad, you're frozen down below. Your audio is great, but you're frozen down below. So if I start talking over you, it's because I can't see you talking down below. Just get it out there. Nick, you keep going.
Next it's in relation to dad's strength, but it's reflexes. I don't know if you've ever seen videos online where like a kid's about to fall and their dad just reaches out of nowhere, grabs them, stops them from falling.
Yeah.
Again, that's Sixth Sense type deal.
Yeah.
It will be sick. It will be sick to one day if you have a son, daughter, whatever, and to have your wife drop the wait till your father gets home and the fear of God that just put into the kid. Like it will be cool to know that like having somebody say wait till I get home is gonna be that fearful one day.
Yeah.
Because like that was the worst line growing up was wait till your father gets home. Wait till your father gets home. You're just like, fuck.
Dude. I don't know about you guys.
What are you gonna tell him?
My dad, my parents never hit me, but for whatever reason in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, wait till your father hears about this. I feel like he's gonna like come home and snap my neck when I was a child. Like I don't know what it is, just having that fear as a father, just strike it into your children. Again, it's just like I think it just comes with time. You're like, don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
And then you just like shit your pants as like a 10-year-old. You're like, oh, I'm sorry.
And now it's kind of like pledging, right? When you're pledging, you're like, I wonder what's like be on the other side, and like you get to this side, and like everyone's like joking, whatever. Like we're gonna scare the hell out of these kids. I wonder if like when you're dad, you're driving home, you're like kind of laughing to yourself, like I wonder how much he's shitting his pants right now. What a pussy.
Yeah, seriously. He's like, I can't wait to strike the fear of God in my kid when I get home after work.
He's taking laps around the neighborhood just to prolong it even more. Let's see. I got a couple that go together. Airport mode. Dads in airports. You're the leader of the family. Everyone follows you. You got to know where to go. Exactly. You got to get the layout of the airport, where you're parking, whole thing. Secondly, getting lost and finding your way with no directions.
It's a good one.
My dad used to get us to the airport like 5 hours early back in the day. He's like, I'm not taking no chances. I don't care if we have to sit there. We're going to sit in the airport. Fucking, you're going to like it. And then again, my dad would do the same thing driving home. He used to fuck with us. He would like purposely drive past our neighborhood and be like, oh, I don't know where we're going. And be like, turn left. And he'd just like bang a right, like a super hard 90-degree right. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Come
on. Airports and beaches. A dad on beach day, you're not relaxing. You're not relaxing. Like looking at it now, like there's no relaxation between hauling all the shit and up until like a gross age. He had to put like my dad would have the sunscreen and would have a station. My little brother would come in. My sister would come in, and up until I was like, I don't know, I remember being like 12, 13 years old, and he was just so rough, just like shaking me like a rag doll. I'm like, I can put it on myself. You know, you won't put it on, so I'm putting it on. Just being ragdolled, sunscreen, and then all the shit you gotta take to the fucking beach, that little push boogie cart, all the shit back, fucking the sandwiches. Like when you're a dad at the beach, you're getting a fucking workout in. Airports and beaches.
It's not relaxing. It's not relaxing.
He's back down below. Yeah, I know it isn't. Like looking at it now, like that's gotta be fucking miserable. You get a fucking week off of work, you get 1 week off the entire year, and I gotta go lug $100 worth of beach equipment there and back to hang out in the sun for 6 hours.
Well, I think
we're hear my kids fucking complain and throw sand on each other too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we're burying the lead there. You have to coordinate the family to get to the beach and keep your wife happy, because this is the lady that you sleep with every night, and you're going to hear from her if the kids are a fucking mess. So that's why your dad is rubbing you down and being rough as shit. Next on the list ties into Grill Master, how to make the perfect sandwich. Mom's gone, no food to cook. Your dads have never shown you his perfect sandwich?
I don't know if show me, but you have a sandwich and it hits so much better than your mom's ever would. Yes.
Well, here's my question for you, Nick. Rattle off his favorite sandwich. I want to hear it. Top to bottom.
I like that.
Dad's favorite sandwich. We got sliced ham and sliced turkey,
Okay.
You get an onion.
It's a good start.
Yeah, it is.
Onion, couple slices,
Ugh.
tomato, lettuce, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of mustard, Lay's original. Crush a couple chips.
That's a kid move by the dad. It's a power move.
Crush a couple chips. Put more on the side. Crunch while you eat the sandwich. Cut diagonally. You don't cut it down the middle. You cut diagonally.
Yeah, cut diagonally. I agree with that. I don't think my dad knows you can put chips on sandwiches. I don't think he knows that's a thing. That's even possible.
I feel like an all-time dad move is just eating lunch meat out of the bag and wrapping it in cheese.
Soprano.
That's what my dad does. Yeah,
Tony Soprano.
Yep. Hey, those Italians, man, they know what they're doing.
I like that. I like that sandwich, Nikki. I like the double meat. You gotta go double meat, roast beef, capicola, turkey, ham, whatever it may be. But the home onions. I'll get onions on a sandwich on like a Philly cheesesteak every now and again when I'm out. But to get the onion, to cut it out, put it on yourself. Just give me the tomato and lettuce. I'll be okay with the mayo and mustard. I like
Agreed. I'm not a raw onion guy, but the sautéed onions.
Yeah, with you on that.
One thing that just came to my mind that's not on the list, and I can't believe I forgot it, is the dad tax. Every time you're sitting in the back seat of the car, you open up a bag of chips. He goes, this number right here.
Yeah.
This number right here.
He here's the slightest crinkle of a bag, and his hand's already behind the chair.
For those listening, Nick is doing like the reach the arm back while you're driving, as like, give me some fucking chips, motherfucker.
Just hand out in a claw. Just give me a couple of those. Let me get a handful.
So it's so true, dude. And like another thing.
On.
Another thing too is like a total dad thing, like a thing I hope to acquire give to my son is like tidbits of like your high school boys, like your high school stories, your college boys, your college stories. You give him tidbits to your son, and therefore son goes and tells his friends and starts doing it. Like I remember like my dad, they had this one guy in the group, they called him Spud for Spud Webb because he was like so short. So my one buddy who's like 5'7", Chrissy Mush, Conrad, Nikki, and for the faithful, Chrissy
Mush, that motherfucker.
He has like
Shout
10. He has like 10 nicknames. Gilbert Huff, the short little boss from The Incredibles. We called him Gilbert Huff. Spud Webb, Ryan Sheckler, like Spud Webb, Ryan Sheckler, and like taking like you gotta give your kids some good high school stories. Cause I don't know about you guys, but I heard like my dad's like stories from like his high school buddies. We go on vacation with his high school and college buddies every single summer. I fucking hear these stories. Awesome. I'd hear these stories all week, get back like, boys, we got to turn up a fucking notch. We got to get it going.
100%. When I was going to college, he was giving me some stories about his time in college. I'm like, I got to live up to this. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, like, right. I got to really put my drinking panties on, dude. Let's fucking go.
And like chirps too, like chirps. I remember my dad would always used to say Gordon. I'm like, where'd that come from? He's like, well, you ever hear a guy named Gordon? You're like, no, not really. Well, yeah, if you name your son Gordon, you're a fucking Gordon. You're a loser. Gordon. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start calling people Gordons now. Like Herb and shit like that. Like Herb's me, but stuff like that. Like when you hear chirps from your dad and give it to the boys and it hits, you're like, oh, let's go. Let's go. Next generation.
One of my favorite stories when I transferred to ECU, because my dad went to ECU in the 80s. He came down and we went out that night and we were walking in downtown and he goes, where's the dumpsters? And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, in the 80s, they would just put dumpsters on every street corner and you were able to carry your beer cans from bar to bar. And at the end of the night, there would just be a 3-foot pile of beer cans all throughout downtown. And I thought that was awesome.
That's pretty specific. That is awesome.
Going back to what I originally said before we hop in, a quick preview because we're going to drop the pick vids this weekend. So you guys are going to know we're going to get into, but just a quick preview before we get to that. The 2-finger whistle, though, I'm determined to fucking know how to do that. The 2-finger whistle has got to be a fucking like just to let that thing rip. Nikki, can you try?
I used to be able to do it.
Yeah, like it came in like a little bird chirping on the microphone, but it was something. Like I'm gonna have to YouTube that because that is like something like I gotta figure out how to do to the 2-finger whistle. Because like when you call somebody and you're with a group of people and like you just hear the wife go calling her husband, call him over. He's like, all right, gets the fingers right, and just like that's gonna be such a good feeling of power.
Yeah, my dad was a ball coach my entire life, still is, And whether he had a whistle or didn't have a whistle at any practice we ever went to, 2 fingers in the mouth, and you learn your dad's tone with the whistle.
Yeah.
You know who it is. You don't have to look. You know, you're like
the tone of the whistle. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like when you're with your family and you walk off too far and you just hear it and you're like, fuck, all right, I'll go back.
And then, okay, so before we get to the preview, now you got me with one more. Nikki. A total dad skill that comes with a kid, though. This was probably the only one, or we talked about the majority of them really haven't involved kids. They've just been in terms of older dude knowledge that comes to you or skills. But this one involving a kid, being the dad that is like not the dad who's like all over the place, like in your kid's sports, but having a little bit of tidbits. I remember my dad, we had a chalkboard in the basement. I'm like mini mites for like hockey, which is like 8 years old. He's drawing up like plays on the chalkboard. I'm like, I still remember that to this fucking day. I'm like, I'm 8 years old. Why is he dropping a dump and change? Why is he drawing me dumping a puck and getting off the ice? But knowing how to do that, then not also be the dad who's in the stands screaming at the ref, cursing him out at an 8-year-old's hockey game, to like ride that line of like, I'm going to care. I'm going to show you I care. Let me give you some tidbits, but also not being the dad that's like getting kicked out drunk at fucking games. Like riding that thin line, it's a good stat skill.
You got any dad? You got any dad at your sports games stories, Conrad? I've got one that I can.
Oh, my dad. So I play travel lacrosse, summer lacrosse. If you know anything about summer lacrosse, it's tournaments every fucking weekend.
Long Island
and
teams.
Sometimes
parents.
Oh my God, no! If you are on an average team and you get in a tournament and you go up against like the A team, the A bracket or whatever, and they shit on your fucking chest every like time you play them. This one guy, they called him Sideburns. He's a face-off guy. Every time he go out to the face-off, he'd do like this psychotic scream and smash his stick against his helmet like 5 times. We were maybe losing like 20-3 at this point. Game's not even like halfway over. We're getting absolutely shit on. My dad starts screaming back at this guy, and they get in a screaming match. They're just going, just back and forth for like 5 minutes before the face-off. Like, dude, let's just get this game over with. Dad, like, shut the fuck up. Oh, it was bad, dude. And then this wasn't my dad, but this was the drunk dad on our team. I'm not gonna name names. He would just like have the brown paper bag and stand at the very top of the stadium. It's lacrosse in fucking suburbia, PA. You know, we're not.
So he's like 5 or 6 bleachers up. Or you talking like an actual empty stadium? You're playing?
No. I'm talking like a high school stadium. He's at the very top, and it's like
gotcha.
There's maybe like 50 people there, and it's all parents anyway, and they're all the
right.
first couple rows watching the game. He's all the way at the top, and he's like, "What the fuck, ref? What the?" He's just motherfucking this ref in like the first 2 minutes of the game, and it's there's always those teams in your conference that you just walk all over every single year.
Right.
We're like, dude, we're going to win this game by 15. Like, you don't need to get kicked out in the first 2 minutes for being blackout drunk. But if you played any type of organized sports, you've seen all types of those dads. And they are a fucking hoot, man. Let me tell you.
And Nikki, before you get to yours, Nikki, there's dads like in hockey. There's dads that'll stand by the glass, hands in their pockets, just stand by the glass, not even talking to each other, just watching. There's dads who'll be in the stands with their wives. Then there's dads who are going to talk to the kids as they're walking to the locker room during an admission. Like, there's so many different avenues you can take. It's just not being the one who's getting kicked out of the game in the second quarter for being hammered drunk at 10 a.m. on a Saturday in July. Mickey.
So a little bit of backstory. My birthday was on the cutoff for sports, July 31st. So I could always play up with the older kids and down with the younger kids. My last year being able to play down with the younger kids, I was 14. My dad would never let me throw a curveball because he was afraid I was going to blow out my elbow.
That's a dad thing.
And yep. I am just, this is baseball, on the mound, just throwing gas at these kids and just blowing by everybody. And I hear, John, a whistle from the stands, and he literally just puts his hand up like this. He goes, "If you're going to throw it, throw it." And it was the first time I ever threw a curveball in a game. Fucking this kid buckled to his knees, and I was like, all right, Dad, you won that one. You got your fucking spot in the game.
There's something about our parents' generation in baseball. Like my dad, when I told my dad I was going to play lacrosse, I was doing baseball and lacrosse. When I told him I was doing lacrosse full time, like talk about never crying. I think that was a time where he was like had to leave the room and was like shaking his head because there's something about our dads in baseball. Like, I remember having catches with my dad. He'd come home after work, still in the work attire. You throw one ball at the feet. John, you throw more fucking ball like that, I'm going inside. I'm like, oh my God.
Don't waste my time.
You're not gonna wait. Yeah, don't waste my fucking time. We're gonna play catch. We're gonna play fucking catch.
And then it translated for lacrosse. Like whenever I go scoop dog shit, he's like, go work on your ground balls. So I'm scooping dog shit to work on my ground balls. But that was that's LRP talking dads right there, folks. I know it's back to back. Just a couple topics of discussion. Just break up the sports talk. I like it.
Absolutely.
It was a good topic.
I like it, man. And getting into football for this weekend, college football. Nick, real quick, do you have any notable matchups in college football and NFL? I'll let you take over the reins here. Drop the notable matchups in college football. We'll talk quick. NFL, we'll talk quick. Send the people on out of here.
Yes, we have a few games tomorrow. Nothing of note, but 3 games on the schedule. I will give those games out after work tomorrow. I'll put up a pick vid for that. I've got NC State losing on Friday to Louisville, as I said earlier. Also Friday night, we've got a ranked matchup that John talked about, Utah, Oregon State. We've got a couple
9
more.
9 o'clock, perfect.
9 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, give me see if you can give me time. If you give me time and like 3 matchups of college football to watch this weekend. We got Utah, Oregon State. You got a couple good ones on Saturday to give the people time and teams. Who's home? Who's away?
Yep, Georgia at Auburn, 3:30.
Ooh,
that one
at Auburn. It could be sneaky being at Auburn.
could be sketchy.
I think Auburn's a 14-point dog.
Yep.
Auburn's a 2-touchdown dog at home. I like if Auburn can get out to a hot start there, 7-0 or something. If they can get out to a hot start and score the first touchdown, I mean, Georgia's really been under the radar in terms of no one's really been talking about so much talk in college football this year that Georgia's kind of under the radar. This could be a game that brings them to light in a good or bad way.
Following it up also on the 3:30 slate, Kansas at Texas. Texas absolutely dog walked Baylor last week. Do we think Kansas gives them any sort of trouble?
Texas minus 16.5.
Yeah, I want Kansas to make it tight, but I think Texas fucking rolls for the Big 12 this year. They just roll on through.
Next.
I mean, Duke Notre Dame, 7 o'clock.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We're working down.
Give them the 6 o'clock.
I've got 6 o'clock LSU at Ole Miss, 13 versus 20 on ESPN.
I think
LSU
you have
minus 2.5.
Yeah, I think you have to pull for LSU just because if they don't win that game, then Alabama can walk onto the SEC championship game with no one at quarterback. So I think you have to root for LSU there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Ole Miss didn't really show me a lot last week, but I mean, I think they're just little brother to Alabama. That's going to take a while for them to get over the hump. I still think this is a good game, and I don't know what the under-over is. It is.
Well, I think 60 what?
67.5.
Jeez, man,
I think I'm taking the over. I think I'm taking the over.
Ole Miss is one of those teams. I mean, like, I don't want them to win. If they beat LSU this weekend, what's it for? What's it for? I mean, you know, it's like if they're
not going to make a run,
right?
They're not going to do anything in the playoffs.
Right.
I know exactly what you're saying.
So we're on the same page there, boys. What do we got else besides? I guess Notre Dame. Notre Dame, the next one.
No, Oregon at Stanford. Oregon is going to blow the doors off of them. They may cover the over by themselves. Sneaky matchup that I like is Iowa State at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is rolling right now. I like Iowa State on defense. I think this is a closer game than people think.
I mean, what's the spread? Because they just lost to a MAC team 2 weeks ago.
20.
20. I mean, yeah, that's if you want to take a big spread, keep it close, Big 12
3
game.
touchdowns.
I don't hate that. What's the spread on Notre Dame and Duke, though? I could give a fuck about Cal University at fucking Sacramento versus fucking
5.5.
State. 5.5. Notre Dame's a favorite at Duke?
It's now up to 6. Notre Dame minus 6 at Duke.
I mean, I think you take Notre Dame and just fucking
don't overthink it.
Yeah,
don't overthink it.
I'll tell you this: there is absolutely no home field advantage at Wallace Wade Stadium. It might be
that's Duke's football stadium.
Wallace Wade Stadium.
Might as well throw Gordon on there. Wallace Wade.
I was gonna. Might as well be Robert E. Lee Stadium, is what it sounds like.
Full concrete benches the entire way around.
Yeah,
that
I guess it does sound like that. Full concrete benches.
The site of the only Rose Bowl not played in Pasadena is it might have been before Wallace Wade Stadium, but that's Duke.
Quick question, Nikki, find us a late night game while I ask this quick question to Conrad. What happened to Notre Dame playing an ACC schedule during the COVID year, and now they're not doing that anymore? You know what I'm talking about? Like, they had like the ACC schedule in football. Pretty sure they could have went to the ACC championship football game. You know what I'm talking about? A couple of years ago when they were playing like Clemson, they played everybody in the ACC, and I think that maybe it was like a COVID year thing or something.
I think that was just a COVID year thing because like a lot of the smaller programs that they do play, like just didn't have their seasons. Like only the major, like the Power 5 conferences really had their full seasons. Like Big Ten, so they normally play a lot of Big Ten schools. Big Ten had like what, a 6-game season or whatever it was that year. Like
I think you're on the money.
So I think they just made like they had some makeups there, but they play a couple ACC and a couple Big Ten, and then their tune-up games.
Right, and then like USC, Stanford.
Well, yeah, always USC. Yeah.
Right. What do you got for late night, Nikki?
Couple last games. South Carolina at Tennessee is an SEC matchup I'll take a look at. Alabama at Mississippi State. That game kicks at 9 p.m.
Yeah, it's gonna be trash. That game will be trash. I will tell you this: South Carolina though, with fucking. What's his name?
Rattler.
Rattler. I mean, that guy, man, talk about ending the year like he did last year, then this year to kind of just the same exact story as last year is fucking crazy to me, man. I really thought they were going to be something that we'd be worried about.
No, I never really believed in Rattler. I think he's too much of a me guy, but I mean, they could play the part of spoiler like they did last year, and that's the only thing they have to play for at the end of the year. That's the only reason they were competitive in those games, I feel like.
Well, you get to that point in the college football season where it's like you look at the slate and you're like, and kind of back to what I was touching about before, when it's like shit and you're like, you're just still pumped it's college football. You're gonna get upset still. Like you look at these games like it's gonna suck. No, there's still gonna be a couple of upsets that are gonna catch you off guard. It's just where they're gonna be at.
100%, and that's like exactly what it says. Like those teams, who are like those big underdogs. They're playing to knock these other teams. They're playing to like knock these rivals out of like contention, out of a conference championship. Like they don't give a fuck about their season anymore. They're strictly playing to ruin everyone else's season. And I think that's kind of a beauty behind college football too. You got to know those spots, got to know those teams and know how it's going to play out.
Damn right.
Last 2 games of the night is Washington at Arizona at 10 p.m. Arizona gets up for their night games. I don't know if you guys have watched those West Coast games at Arizona, but they get up.
I haven't, but I guess I got that.
Why would we?
I haven't, but Nikki's the West Coast King, so I'll take that for what it's worth. What's the spread?
Why would we watch those at Arizona?
What's the spread?
Give me a second. Sorry.
You gotta get the live odds app, Nikki. I know you like doing.
I got it. Plus,
I know you do. But you got
19 is the spread on that game.
Okay, Washington. So that'll be a good one to take. And then Nikki, give us your last late night game again. Give us your little run through on it really quickly, and then we'll hop in NFL.
Nevada.
Nikki's 30 seconds of shine.
Nevada at Fresno State is the last game of the night. That's a 10:30 kick. Give me Fresno State is going to be a 24.5 point favorite. Nevada is awful.
Fresno State is like they could be like a Boise State of 10 years ago, low key. If you watch out for them this year,
they're ranked right now. They're number 25.
I would have said Bama, Mississippi State, but
he dropped that. He dropped that. That game's gonna be fucking ass.
Hand up.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah, that game's gonna be ass. But NFL this weekend, we haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about him until just now, but Turb. I want to give Turb the video this weekend. But, I mean, Nikki said 11 episodes. Conrad said 10. And if you got those tickets on week 1, the odds have dropped dramatically because that's looking pretty promising right now.
Yeah, he said his dad forgot the mic in the group.
He could go to Amazon and buy one for $40 and we'd be fine, but it's just not how
it's here tomorrow.
It's not how it's going to go down. It's not how it's going to go down.
You want to talk about an all-time Turb move? That's an all-time Turb.
All time. And I'm kind of giving him the TO treatment right now. Like I didn't really text him about the pod today. Like, if he wants it, he'll let me know. Kind of give him like the star player treatment and fucking shut up, blow up on the media. It's like, I'm not gonna talk to him. I want to see where his priorities are. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they're at. We need him. We miss him. But this train will keep on rolling without him.
We bury this an hour into the podcast. Make sure he's listening so we know he's chirping. We're chirping him. Same way that Tuna somehow didn't know I was on a 1,000-play season. He asked me what bets I had last Saturday.
Oh, he is so.
Can we just stop bringing Tuna up?
Yeah,
he's dead. He's dead. There's no such thing as Tuna anymore. There's no such thing as primetime Tuna. His name is just John Avey at this point.
Yep, and I'll leave it with this on Tuna. He's one of those guys to where he's like, and like I know he's not fucking listening, that fucking nerd, but I hope he fucking is, because he's one of those guys where he's like, I'm not that guy in college. I'm not that guy you met in college. I'm different now. I'm different. You can still be that guy in college while also not being a full-on degen inebriate all the time. You can still be that guy. You don't gotta be the whole I'm different now, I'm new. But that's the way he's taking. That's the path he's taking. He's totally put the blinders on for LRP. The people love him. The people miss him. But you know what? I'm not going to be the fucking ex-girlfriend crying in bed fucking jamming my 6-speed dildo up my ass, okay? We're moving
12.
on.
12 speed.
That is still so crazy they have 12 fucking speeds now. But we are moving on. We're moving on without him. You know what, Tuna? I have given you the opposite of the term treatment. I've given you I will give you jerk-offs, fucking under the pants, over the pants. I'm here for you. I love you. I'll gas you up to the people. No problem whatsoever. Jan Baby's Tuna. Conrad knows all about that. Hashtag was one a couple years ago.
That is a fact. I said that every single. We want to know where it originated. Is he would only edit Tuna's videos and not mine, even though I'm a way better gambler than Tuna, and that's where that came from. And you know what? Does it hurt a little bit? Yes, but it doesn't matter. 29 and 15 speaks for itself. I got nothing to say to Tina, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Tuna was like, he was like the king orca at fucking SeaWorld. And it's like, if he's not like there emotionally, mentally, the show's ruined. That's why I had to like coddle him. I should have coddled him.
He did need the baby boy treatment. He needed to be coddled.
He sure did. But that
I hope he listens to this.
That pains me, Connor, because you were 4 years ago, dropped the first pig video ever on this page. You've been with us every step of the way. No fucking problem. No questions asked. No reaming him in. No fucking making sure where his mind's at, where his mental's at. Every single year he shows up, he performs. And that, my friend, kudos, hats off.
Even when I'm down in the dumpsters. Last year I had, I think, a 2-12 week or something, 2-10 week. And I still came back the next week and I still delivered.
And by the way,
I might have toot my own horn, but it is what it is.
And by the way, too, fuck NFL. I'll drop NFL this weekend. You want the preview of NFL? You want all that? I'll drop it on my pick video on Sunday. But people forget, people don't know. It's not fucking easy doing those pick vids. At least I forgot. I forgot how much when you don't know what to say or you don't know where to take it or where to go, I just start dropping F-bombs left and right. And I'm like, it reminds me of my first podcast. You're just like, fuck it, it's not to get your thoughts correlated and to get them out to the people in 90 seconds, 2 minutes. With Conrad, the one take Terry, it ain't easy, folks. You try it. It ain't easy.
It's definitely not. I've screwed up many a shot for John and for Turb when we did the triple take. So I mean, I'm that guy. I'm not used to being on camera. John's definitely more of the
we're gonna get you there though. We're gonna get you there though, Nikki. Because Nikki, when he came over at the Monday Night Football game a week and a half ago, he's hammered on my couch. Just goes, he's watching his video that I posted. I gotta get more clicks. I gotta get more energy. What the fuck is this? It's not easy though, Nikki. It's not easy. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there. Because if you become a ball of fire in front of the camera, man. I mean, I want Tuna to fucking suck his own dick watching our new, what's the fucking word called when Mozart has someone who's bringing up a fucking Mozart has a student he's trained to be him. What's that called? Protege. There we go, Nikki. Back-to-back times, Nikki, you got us on the word find this episode. I want Tuna to suck his own dick watching LRP's next protege take the spotlight, take his fame, take his followers, take his army, because Conrad's army gets too strong. We could have a fucking Nazi thing on our hands. We can't have that.
Oh, all right. What are we doing here? You putting Conrad's army in the Nazi box? Let's simmer down. My people are good people.
But yeah, that was a terrible I'm just trying to think of like that's not
Conrad's Army. You're not Nazis. You are good people. You're faithful. I love you. Keep riding. All my best bets. They're winners.
No, I was saying that because Conrad, he could get all this power to his head, he got like a little Napoleon thing going on. Next thing you know, he's telling his army, fuck CD Beyond, and they could be all for it. If he keeps giving the winners like this, I would, if I was his army, I'd be doing the same fucking thing. Who do we gotta kill? Who do we gotta go after? So I'm just saying, Conrad's army, if it keeps on going the way it is, it could be a dangerous force, but I'm here to watch it. I'm here to watch it grow this season, man.
Conrad's army, stand down and stand back. We're good for now.
And that's the beauty of it too, Bo. It's like, I mean, we got college basketball coming up November 1st, study month, study day. College basketball gets here. If that's, I mean, that's another month. I mean, Terry might not be here until college basketball. I mean, I don't fucking know. But the beauty of it was when Tuna was here last time, saying his name is now banned from the podcast. He's now known as John Abey. But that guy, when he was on here, and it was Conrad going back and forth, NFL and college football, the LRP Go Talks, the polls, the arguments, two armies colliding. I want that again. I need that again. And we're going to get it going. Nick, myself, Turb, we're going to get it going.
Let us not forget when we've had that LRP Go pull up, John Abey, a.k.a. the fraud primetime Tuna, voted for Conrad. Just putting that out there. I have the receipts. I have the clips.
Yeah. I mean, the kid went 10-0. The kid went 9-0 in bowl games to start the season. 9-0 in bowl games to start. I mean,
and I
an all-time story too.
Fire! Oh my god, dude! That real quick, that video you made me make where I was like doing the pretend interview the documentary is so fucking funny.
Dude, I still remember. I don't know where I was. Remember, you had a terrible season. Remember, I called you and I'm like, dude, like we gotta finish out with bowl season. And you're like, dude, I can't.
It was Christmas time. I was in the Villages, Florida. I was down horrendously, and
I'm like the guy that's like, keep betting.
And Johnny, I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm never betting again. Johnny's like, I need you to put out content right now. And then I went 9-0, cleared up
an unbelievable
tenth of my balance maybe that I had. But yeah, it was a fucking unreal ride.
An unbelievable underdog story, boys. And I can't wait. This month of October, fall's officially here. So the weekends get great for football. Up north, you got some good golf still left in the tank. Down south, we're getting to the nitty-gritty prime time, midday rounds at 75 degrees down here.
Oh,
you can't beat it. Time to take advantage. College hoops, month and a half away. And then we got basketball and hockey starting in a couple of weeks, NHL and NBA. So this is like that time of year where it's like you got an MLB postseason and NFL, and then middle of October, all hell breaks loose. MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL. I mean, this is the time of year where it's like you're happy and content with football. Just wait. It gets even better.
Jan, I think we're doing live picks from the golf course on Saturday, 10 a.m. Get to the course an hour early so you can film me on the live, throw in your 2 cents, and I'll give out.
I got a couple ideas. that we'll toss around. Keep an eye out for the story of LRP Nikki 6 picks Conrad's Corner this week leading up to the weekend. Conrad 6-6, a big on the 10-0 weekend anniversary. Still has not gone negative on the anniversary. Last year 6-4, this year 6-6. Keeping the anniversary in good name in vain. This is a big weekend for Conrad. 29-15. Can he get that boost again? If he gets another boosted week this week, 6-2 or something, you're going to create a shitstorm of winning that people are going to wish they were on in week one. Nikki, 300 picks. He's doing 100 again this weekend. Who knows how much he's going to do? But we're going to have to work it away, Nick, where you get these picks of the people in a timely fashion that can tail along. We'll be in talks. And can you go 1 week without being 5 or 10 games around 500? It's honestly insane.
We're at 371 picks through 4 weeks. I am waiting for that week one way or the other. It's going to test my mettle.
Yeah, up or down.
Up or down. We're looking at a 70-30, or honestly, like a 20-80. I mean, it's bound to happen. I don't know when it's coming. Hopefully we can get the 70-30 this week and then absolutely take off from there.
Yeah, that's all you need is one massive up week like that, and it's off to the races. I hope it happens this weekend for you boys. Any final words before I close this out, fellas?
Like and subscribe to LRP. Like and subscribe Conrad's Corner, Nikki 6 picks. turn on push notifications, do whatever you got to do. The picks are always going to be up every Saturday, every Sunday before the games. If you're a simpleton loser who can't wait, just wait. I promise you the picks will be up. I got people in my DM saying, oh, you need to put the picks out earlier. Oh, you need to do this. No. I wake up Saturday. I reread the lines. We readjust. I give the picks. You tail and you win money.
I almost fucked Connor this weekend too, and he is great with getting it up well before game time. We're going to keep that going. Like, share the post, YouTube, LinkedIn, Insta, Twitter, soon to be on TikTok, you name it. Shout out Frank the Tank. Shout out Mr. Bosco. Shout out Senior. Shout out Senior. Shout out Mr. Merritt. Shout out to our dads. Shout out to dads everywhere. LRP talking dads, a little bit of NFL, a little bit of college football. And by the way, no pervert in football this week. NFL or college.
Are we calling Travis Kelce a pervert for trying to date Taylor Swift?
And we almost went the whole episode without talking about everything that's been on everyone's social media feed constantly. Talking about something that needs to fucking end. My God.
Swifties. Yeah. No, I take that back. Swifties, if you're listening to this, I changed my mind. You're good people, but just dial it down, okay? Just dial it down. Travis Kelce was Travis Kelce before Taylor Swift.
Allow me to fall on this sword for you, Conrad. Fuck the Swifties. I hate them.
He said it, not me.
If the regime of early 40s Germany was still around, I mean, I'll tell you one army that could take him
John
down.
John is on a Nazi kick
this
tonight.
Guy is like he's like jerking off to Nazis or something.
I'm just saying, if the regime of the early 40s Germany was still around, the Swifties would be in one army to take them down. I'm just saying, I want to go out that one army, but I thought that's a good take. I mean, fucking Nick over there, all fucking, oh my God, we're on CNBC. Fucking watch your tone. And that's how you know
Nick's the one that talks, bringing up what did transgenders and retard strength. This guy is.
Guess what? I'm ready to take on everybody. I'm taking on everybody. I don't give a fuck. I don't mince my words for anybody. You're not gonna cancel me because I'm never backing down. Yeah, don't
salute you for that.
Don't do that.
We salute you for that. And also, Conrad, 2 days from now, Nick, you also come those takes that he had no backup for. He will have backup for 2 days from now when no one is here to see it. That's how Nicky rolls. That's how Nicky rolls. I don't hate it. Hey, I'm just pointing out. I'm just calling it how I see it. Just calling it how I see it. And also, quick over under before we finally let the people go. Over under week 11. T Swift and Kelce still at it.
Oh, I've got the alternate line on the under. This is going to be over in 2 weeks.
Nikki's going down.
What week are we going into? We're going to week 4, right?
Week 4, over under 11.5. We're still at it.
I don't know that you ever see them together again.
I'm saying
so weird. They look so weird in those videos.
I'm saying down.
I want to say down. I have Travis Kelce on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm going to go over.
There you go. 2 down, 2 over. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Epi 5. Epi Cinco for our Spanish listeners. Nick, what's up to 4? Nick, what comes after 4, Nick?
Oh, that would be 5.
3 plus 2, Conrad?
5.
And that'll be past a month, the entire month of September. We brought to you every single week by week. This will be on Spotify, no YouTube this week because of Conrad's laggy, whatever, but the audio is fine. Spotify this week. Catch us there Thursday or Friday. I don't know whenever you're going to be hearing this. It will be up this week. Thank you for listening. Epi 5. Big game.
Love you.